Hello children, it is very pleasure to meet you through online classes. The topic today we are going to discuss the grammatical competency active into passive voice. So what is active voice, what is passive voice, we should know it first. So what is active? I am now active, I am doing some work. So when the subject is doer of the action, that is called active. So quite opposite active, it is passive. So passive it is, for example, he plays free fire. So he plays free fire. So the subject is doer of the action. So the subject does the action. So this is called active voice. What is passive? So it's quite opposite. The free fire is played by him. Look at this subject. So this subject is not doer of the action. So this is the major difference. First we should know what is active, what is passive voice. This is active voice, this is passive voice. When subject is doer of the action, that is called active voice. Subject is passive, inactive, that's not doing the work, that is called passive voice. So if you want to write the active and passive voice, it is interconnected with other two grammar topics. What are the two topics? You must know sentence pattern. And you should know tense. Tenses, you should know it. Without knowing the sentence pattern and tenses, you cannot write the active voice, passive voice. So these are interconnected with this topic. So without knowing this, you cannot write active into passive or passive into active. So first let us begin with how to find out the sentence of the pattern. The sentence pattern, there are many variants. Subject, verb, object, and adjunct, and complement. So the object has two objects. One is direct object, another one is indirect object. So generally we can find it out. What is subject? For the whole sentence, for example, Rose is beautiful flower. The whole sentence talks about the rose. So this is called subject. So the whole sentence talks about the rose, that is called the subject. And verb. Here, be verb used as a main verb. So this is the verb. And there are two types of verb. Be verbs and action verbs. So what is action verbs? That can be explained through an action. For example, I am teaching. I am teaching active voice, passive voice. So teaching is the work is done by me. So that is action verb. Be verb also can be used as a main verb. Okay. Yes. So look at this. He plays football. So look at this. So total sentence talks about he. So this is subject. What is the action done by the subject? This is called verb. What is action done by the subject? Which is called verb. How to find out object? So we have to use the question words. What and whom. With subject and verb. If you use what he plays. What he plays, if you get answer, that is called object. So we are getting answer. What he plays football. So we are getting an answer. So that is called object. So whom, for example, he gave me a gift. Look at this sentence. The whole sentence talks about the he, and what is the action done by the subject gave, and what he gave. So we are getting answer here, object, and whom he gave. So we are getting another one answer here. So we are getting two objects. One is direct object, another one is indirect object. So the question word you are getting the answer for what, that is called a direct object. So it is called indirect object. So generally things are direct object, persons are indirect object. So first we must know to find out subject, verb and object. So what is urgent? That is also we must know it. She learns grammar regularly. Look at this. This is subject. Learns action is done by the subject. So write the question word what she learns. Grammar. So this is object. Whom she learns, there is no answer. And regularly, what it is. So when you get the answer for the question words for why, when, where, how. If you get answer for these question words in a line, that is called adjective. So when she learns grammar, so regularly she learns grammar, so it is called adjunct. So if you get answer for these question words, that is called adjunct. So the what is complement? Complement which completes the part of a sentence. We know. So that completes the meaning of a sentence. For example, he is a doctor. So E subject is doctor, which gives complete meaning to the subject. So that is called a complement. So generally we must know this. Without knowing to identify subject, verb, object, you cannot write the active voice, passive voice. And then you should know the tenses. So we know what is tenses. Tense means time. There are three times. What are the three times? Present, past, future. So there are three times. Present, past, future. So there are three types. So but in English there are 4 forms, tense forms in each tenses. So totally there are 12 tense forms. There are totally 12 tense forms. Forms, not a tense. Tense there are only 3. How many forms are there? 12 forms. These 12 forms we must know to write the active into passive. Let's break down how to write this. So in present, what is the first form? That is simple present. Simple present. While you write, you need one main verb and as well as auxiliary verb. Without auxiliary, without a main verb, we cannot write a sentence. So we need, while you are writing active or passive. For a simple present, for writing the active voice, what is the auxiliary we require? We require do auxiliary for a plural subject, does auxiliary for singular subject, does, plus verb first form. Verb first form. The verb has the 3 forms: present, past, past participle. So there are 3 verb forms. So, but here we have to use verb first form. What is required to write the passive voice? When the subject is plural, you have to use are. And verb, we have to use third form. What is the third form? Past participle of the main verb. For example, go. What is the third form? Went, gone. Gone is the third form. So we should know the third form of the main verb. Without knowing you cannot write it. So you must know it. So just keep it in your mind. What is the, for singular subject it is required is plus verb third form. So verb third form, here it is required. Subject singular is plus verb third form. In active voice we require does plus verb first form. So this is simple present. For example, I will write a sentence. Okay, they do the work. They do the work. Look at this. This is subject. We have to find out the pattern, sentence pattern. This is verb. So what they do work. That is object. So we should know this. Without knowing this, we cannot write. So how to write? This is active or passive. Look at the table here. Do which refers the active voice. So the sentence is active. We have to write it in the passive. How to write the passive? So the object should be come into the place of subject. Subject should go into the place of object. So the object will come here. The work. What is required to write the passive? Are or is. So what we have to write? We have to underline the subject. It is singular subject. So we have to go with is. And we have to write the three form of the verb. What is that three form? Do, did, done. So you have to write the third form. In the passive voice, main verb always should be in the third form. So whatever the tense it is, the main verb should be in the third form. So but the work is done. And we have to add the agent. So how to add the agent? We have to add by. So there it is the subjective pronoun. Subjective pronoun when comes into the object place, that will change it as the objective pronoun. What is the objective pronoun for they? Them. It will change it as a them. So look at this. Object should come in the place of subject. Subject should. Look at this line. This is I is the subject. Write is the verb. What I write stories. This is object. So object will come in the place of subject. Stories. Stories actually this is plural. While your subject is plural, you have to use are. And take out the main verb and write the three forms of the verbs. What is the three form? Write, wrote, written. So without knowing the three forms of the main verb, you cannot write the active voice, passive voice. You must know the three forms of the main verb. For example, if you write no, you should know the three forms. No, knew, known. So without knowing this, you cannot write the active voice, passive voice. You must remember it. If we have to passive voice, we have to always write the third form of the verb. Why we have used here plural are? Why we have used? Because the subject is plural, so we have used are. And passive voice always go with third form of the verb. And I will come here in the place of object. So when which it is come in the place of object, we have to go with me. So I will change as a me. Because this is subjective pronoun, it is objective pronoun. When subject comes into the place of object, it will change it as a objective pronoun. So remember, I will change it as a me, he will change it as a him, they will come as a him, we will change it as a us. So those are objective pronouns. So these are the basic thing you should know while you are writing simple present. What is the next tense form? That is present continuous. So for writing the present continuous, active voice, what is required? Active voice. Auxiliary verb is required and main verb. For a singular subject, we require is auxiliary and verb we have to use verb plus ing. So verb plus ing we call it is a present participle. So present participle or we call it is a gerund. So present participle or gerund. So when the subject is plural, we have to use are plus verb plus ing. So verb plus ing, when subject is I, we have to use am plus verb plus ing. So remember, subject is singular, is subject plural are. When the subject is I, you have to use am. Plus gerund or a present participle should be used. For passive voice, for singular subject, you have to use is being. For plural, and verb automatically will be in the third form. Whatever is the tense form, automatically it's a third form. And verb plural, are plus, being plus, verb third form. And I, when it is subject, it depends upon is am being, so are being, whatever it is. So remember, is being, are being, am being plus verb third form. So example is kicking. Is kicking the ball. So E subject is plus verb plus ing, it is a verb. What is kicking? Is kicking the ball. So it is object. So look at this. Object has to come into the subject place. Subject should go into the object place. So the ball will come here. The ball, what is required for singular, look at the table, is being. We required is being. And automatically verb should go into the third form. What is the third form for kicking? Kick, kicked, kicked. So we have to use kicked. Kicked by, he will change it as a in. Because this is subjective pronoun, it is objective pronoun. When which comes into this object place, it has to be changed as an objective pronoun. Look at this line. They are playing hockey. So they is the subject. R plus verb plus ing. This is verb. What they are playing, it is object. So object will come into the subject place. Hockey. Hockey. And we have to wait whether it is, we have to find out it is singular or plural. It is a singular. So hockey is being, no doubt here plural. But the subject comes into the place, the object comes into the place of subject, it is a singular. So we have to go with is being. And the third form. What is the third form for play? Play, play, play. Played by them. So look at this. Hockey is being, third form of the verb, and by them. So you should know this table. Without knowing that, you cannot write this tense form. So this is present continuous. Next tense form, present perfect. What is the next tense form? It is a present perfect. For writing the present perfect, active voice, you required for singular subject, you have to use as. And the verb should be used in the third form. And the plural, for making plural, you have to have auxiliary and the verb third form. Verb third form. And the passive, what we have to write singular, passive. You have to write as been. And the verb automatically third form. And for plural, we have to write have been plus verb third form. So, verb third form. For example, he has written the poem. Look at this, he has written the poem. He is the subject. Has written verb. What he has written, this is object. So the poem should come here. The poem is singular. What is required for passive? As been. We have to write as been. As been. So the verb already in third form. So we don't need to change anything. Written by he will change it as a him. So we have to use has been or have been. When subject is I, we have to use have. We cannot consider as a plural, sorry, singular. We have to write have. I have done, I have written, I have invited. So we have to use have. We cannot use as. So what is the next tense form? That is present perfect continuous tense. For the present perfect continuous tense, there is no passive voice. Only active, no passive. We cannot write the passive voice for present perfect continuous tense. So what is the next tense? It is past. So past, it is simple past. For simple past, for writing active voice, you should know what is the auxiliary we require active, did plus verb first form. While you write did plus verb first form, we'll change it as a verb second form. For passive, singular, we require was plus verb third form. Plural, we require were plus verb third form. So look at this, for how the verb will turn. For example, if you did plus eat, so did plus eat will turn as a ate. If you find out ate in a line, what is the auxiliary in it? Did auxiliary. Did auxiliary is hiding inside the main verb. For example, went. What is the auxiliary hiding here? Did. What is the auxiliary hiding here? Did. Did auxiliary is finding. Did plus go changed as a went. So did plus verb will turn as a verb second form. For singular, we required was a were plus verb third form. For example, she sang a song yesterday. So look at this. She subject, sang verb. So what is sang a song? This is object. Yesterday is her adjunct. When she sang, that is yesterday. Never bother about the adjunct. So object will come in the place of subject. Yeah, song. Song singular or plural? It is a singular. So for singular, what is required? Was. And verb has to be changed as a third form. What is the three form for sang? Sing, sang, sung. So it has to be changed as a sung. Okay, sung by her yesterday. You can write like this, or else you can write this way also. A song was sung yesterday by her. Both way. So where you can place anywhere. There is no problem indeed placing the adjunct. So here or here, that's not a problem. So remember, so adjunct is not a matter. So we can write anywhere. When the subject is plural. Okay. They drank water. So drank, what is the auxiliary hiding in it is did. Did plus drink, it has changed as a drank. So water is object, it is verb, it is subject. So object will come in place of subject, water. So water was, what is the three form for drank? Drink, drank, drunk. So we have to write drank. By them. So we have to write like this. So what is the next tense form? Past continuous tense. What is the next tense form? We have past continuous. For writing the past continuous, we require active voice was plus verb plus ing. It means gerund or present participle when subject is singular. When subject is plural, you have to use were plus verb plus ing. What is passive we required when subject is singular? Was being plus verb third form. When subject is plural, we have to use were being plus verb third form. So you should know this. Without knowing this, you cannot write it. So for making past continuous, when subject is singular, was plus verb plus ing. When subject is plural, were plus verb plus ing. Passive, was being or were being. So what is the next tense form? Past perfect. What is the next tense form? Past perfect. For active past perfect, whether it's a singular or plural, add plus verb third form. Passive we require add been plus verb third form. Whether it is singular or plural. So whatever it is, we require add plus verb third form. Passive add been plus verb third form. We have to write. Example: he add he had drawn the picture. So look at this, he subject had drawn verb, the picture object. So object will come in the place of subject and object will go in there. So the picture, so we have to write had been plus verb third form. Already it is in third form, so we don't need to change it. Drawn by him. Whether the singular or plural, we have to go with add been plus verb third form. For active, we have to go with add plus verb third form. So this is the rule we might remember writing past perfect. What is the next tense form? It is past perfect continuous tense. There is no passive voice for past perfect continuous. Remember, present perfect continuous tense, no passive. Past perfect continuous tense, no passive. You might remember this. So without knowing the tense, you cannot write the active voice, passive voice, or passive into active, or active into passive. What is the next tense form? Future. Simple future. For simple future, we require auxiliary will or shall. And verb first form. Will or shall plus verb first form. For passive, we require will or shall plus be plus verb third form. So active verb first form, passive be we have to add be plus verb third form. Will be or shall be plus verb third form. For example, I shall do it. So I subject shall do verb, it object. So object will come here, it and passive what is required, it shall be. And write down the three form, do, did, done. So you have to go with the done. Okay. It shall be done by, I will change it as a me. Because this is subjective pronoun. What is the objective pronoun for I? Me. So when the subject goes into object place, you have to concentrate this. So I should be changed as a me. So subjective pronoun will change it as a objective pronoun. So this is the simple future. What is the next tense? Future continuous tense. So for the future continuous tense, there is no passive voice. So only active. There is no passive voice. Remember, present perfect continuous, past perfect continuous, and future continuous and future perfect continuous tense. There is no passive voice. So next, what is that? Future perfect. What is next? It is future perfect. For future perfect, you required will have plus verb third form or shall have. Shall have plus verb third form. Passive, what is required? Will have been plus verb third form or shall have been plus verb third form. So these tense should be memorized. You have to memorize. So grammar is like mathematics. So you have to do step by step by step. Otherwise you cannot write it. While you write the mathematics, you must know the formula. You must memorize the formula. Like that you have to memorize the tense. So even though you understand it very clearly, you must memorize the tense. Without memorizing the tense, you cannot write it. So you should memorize it. Memorize this. This is the step. So you have to be followed while you are writing the active voice, passive voice. But you have to memorize this. Next, tense form, future perfect continuous tense. For that, there is no passive voice. These are the basic things we must know that while you are writing active voice, passive. While writing the modals. So what are the modals? Can, could, shall, should, will, would, may, might, must. These are called modals. So while writing the modals, modal plus verb first form should be used in the active voice. While writing the passive voice, can be plus verb third form or could be plus verb third form, shall be plus verb third form, should be plus verb third form, may be plus verb third form, might be plus verb third form or must be plus verb third form. For example, I can lift the box. So here I subject, can lift verb, the box object. Object will come in the place of subject, the box. So we have to use the same modal. We cannot change anything. Can plus, be plus. Verb third form. What is the three form for lift? Lift, lifted, lifted, lifted. Lifted. The box can be lifted by me. So box can be lifted by me. So we must finish the project. We must finish the project. We subject must finish verb under the project object. So the object will come here. The project. No change in the modals. The same modal should be used. Must plus you have to use be under verb third form. What is the third form for finish? Finish, finished, finished. By we will change it as a us. So what is the objective pronoun for we? Us. When which comes into the object place, it has to be changed as a us. So remember while you are writing modals. So these things we have to write. Some of the example sentence I have written here. Let's write out this how to write it. Okay. So look at this. I subject, no is the verb and im is the object. So what is the auxiliary id in it? Do. Do plus no. So in the beginning I have told you already very clearly, a sentence cannot be written without auxiliary verb and main verb. Whatever the tense it is, you need auxiliary verb. So here what is the auxiliary used in this line? Do auxiliary. So where we can find it out with the do auxiliary, this can be found in the active voice. So in simple present. For passive, what is required for this is or plus verb third form. So object will come in the place. So im will change it as a, and for singular subject we have to write is. What is the three form for no? No, new, known. We have to write known. Known, it's very different. No, to me. We cannot write here by. This is a little bit different. We have to go with to me. We cannot use by. He is known to me. I will change it into me. So look at the next sentence. He subject is driving verb, car object. So the car will come into the subject place. The car. So is driving. Is plus verb plus ing, which denotes active voice and which shows the present continuous tense. For passive, what is required is being or am being. So it's very clear why I have gone with is being, because the subject is singular. And drive, what is the three form for drive? Drive, drove, driven. Drive, drove, driven. Okay. The car is being driven by him. You will change it as a him. Okay. So he has completed the project. He has completed the project. He subject has completed verb and the project object. The project will come in the place subject. The project as completed, present perfect tense is used as being completed. So by we have to add and he will change it as a him. And next look at this. Cleaned is the verb, Ravi is the subject, the floor is the object. So cleaned, what is the auxiliary? This did plus clean. So did it very clearly shows it is a simple past and active voice. What is required for passive? The floor. So floor singular. So we have to go with was. Floor was. What is the three form for clean? Cleaned by Ravi. So Ravi, we have to write like this. The dog, subject, was biting, verb and him. So he object him will change as a he, and was plus verb plus ing, which shows past continuous. For passive we required was being or were being. So here we are going to was being because the subject is singular. And what is the three form for bite? You must know the three forms of the bite. Bite, bit, bitten. Without knowing that, you cannot write it. So you should know the three form of the bite. Bite, bit, bitten. So he was being bitten by the dog. He was bitten by the dog. And next, he had finished the project. So what is the passive? The project had been finished by him. So this is the basic thing we should know while writing active into passive voice. So without knowing these basics, you cannot write it. So next session, let us learn more examples under some of the indifferent sentences, some of the sentences which are rarely used in active and passive voices. Thank you so much.